bringing all the boys again. Jeff O'Neill, Dave Poulin, Craig Button, and Ray Ferraro from their respective homes in Calgary and Vancouver. And a guy we haven't spent, I don't think, enough time on today would be Taylor Hall, who is right there at number 2 on our list. I will leave it to Gord and all the insiders to tell us where he will go once they have that information. I want to ask you guys where he should go. What's the best fit for Taylor Hall? We'll start with Ray.
Well, should and could and maybe. I mean, there's lots of factors in all of it. But, Columbus has cleared the decks to make a significant free agent offer, whether it be to Hall or to Torrey Krug or even to Pietrangelo. And, Carolina is another team that I look at as a team that is lacking a finish, yet plays with a great pace. Now, when I look at Taylor Hall from a centerman's perspective, I don't see him as necessarily an easy guy to play with. Taylor's always been an improviser. His strength of game is his skating, his power, his ability to drive the net, and his shot. He's not a give-and-go player necessarily. So while we might think that, hey, that makes sense, they need offense, this team could be a team that should be interested in him, you have to look at your personnel and say, can we get the most out of Taylor Hall in what we have to play with him and what he plays like? And that's really a bigger conversation and might lead to whether the deal's a shorter one, which Taylor seems open to, or a longer one.
Craig, where do you like as a destination for Hall?
Well, I'm going to jump off a couple of things that Ray said. How do you get the most out of Taylor Hall? And could it be a longer term or a shorter term deal? So I think the Colorado Avalanche on a shorter term deal is a nice fit. And I go back to 2008 when Marian Hossa signed with the Detroit Red Wings on a 1-year deal. And not only to get into an environment where he had an opportunity to have success, but through that success, you learn about yourself and you learn what you're capable of doing, and you also show everybody around the league. And like 08, we're in a similar spot. The cap was flat because of the worldwide recession. So the money might not have been in the system. And I wouldn't have Taylor Hall play with Nathan MacKinnon to Ray's point. I'd have him play with Nazem Kadri. Nazem Kadri's a little bit of an improviser, but he's really smart and really good defensively. And then Taylor Hall can do his thing. And you're looking at a team that is very good. And I think Taylor Hall could be a significant addition. Because if you end up in the wrong spot, it goes without saying, on a long-term deal with lots of money, I'll tell you what, we're going to be talking in a year or two's time about, oh boy, he didn't provide value for that contract.
I think you should go with convenience, James. I don't want to sound creepy, but I know where he lives, and it's like 5 minutes from the MasterCard Center. Easy drive. You don't have to pick up and go anywhere else. You could practice. You could be a Toronto Maple Leafs. Sniff around for one of those Paul Kariya, Teemu Selanne type situations. Maybe that's available, but this is all about convenience. Once again, don't want to sound creepy because I know where he lives.
Too late. What was creepier today, you or Pierre talking about the cream or whatever it was?
No, that was not. I just know where he lives, so it's easy. Just MasterCard Center's 5 minutes away.
So
give
Hall
it a
and Pietrangelo both squeeze under the cap for Toronto, no problem.
I love it. Hayes loves it too.
Pulley?
I went through all 31 teams in this exercise doing something else, and I arrived right where Craig did with Colorado Avalanche. And I revisited Teemu Selanne and Paul Kariya in 2003 when they did it each for a year. But I'm about the player putting himself in the best possible situation. There's so much depth there at forward. He could play on one of the top 2 lines, fit in really, really well, and sort of rebuild where he's at. He's not in the best possible place in his career right now to go to free agent market. Just happens to be the timing. So go win a cup with Colorado, put that on your resume, do it maybe for a year or two, and at 7, they've got lots of cap space there. I just think it's a really good fit.
It does make a lot of sense. Since there are no rules on these panels, let's go to the guy at the back and Mike Johnson.
And let me play too, James. Come on back here. But yeah, you know what? Colorado is obviously a smart one. They have the space right now. They're a really good team. You can play with good offensive players. But I love Carolina for the pace of play, for Rod Brind'Amour. If you're trying to rehabilitate his game and kind of the pace that he played with it when he was at Jersey at his very best, I like Carolina. And one more to consider. Boston's been pretty quiet. They've been looking for second-line scoring for a long time on a really short-term deal, and I don't know how much money he'll be able to make there. Playing with David Krejci, a guy who is so smart and can get you the puck, and he can work his game to fit yours. and then you're playing with the structure of the Boston Bruins. You're going to have a good team for a year. You're probably going to get to the playoffs, probably maybe play more than 4 or 5 games. I think the Boston Bruins would be a nice fit for him as well if you're going to get creative and not worry about money at all. Not my money to worry about.
We've given Taylor Hall all sorts of good advice, including maybe getting a restraining order